Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in for our South Australia Wild Islands expedition. I will just give us just a moment. I can see we have a number of people still coming in to join the meeting this morning. So thank you once again. And yeah, just not too far away, we'll actually be getting underway so that you can learn all about this fantastic destination and why it's so amazing to do that with us here at Coral Expeditions as well. So I might get started now. We do have majority in, so thank you again. So my name is Ramona. I'm actually the sales executive for Coral Expeditions here. I've been with the company for about 3 or so years now. I am a Cairns local as well, being that our company is based up here in Cairns. That's where our main office is. It's really nice to have some of our ships here as our main routes, and then also being that this is my hometown. And now I'm actually going to introduce you as well to Dawn, who's our expedition leader on one of our vessels. So thank you, Dawn.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Dawn, and I am one of the expedition leaders involved with Coral Expeditions. A little about myself: I've been with the company 3 years, and been lucky enough to travel all through parts of Australia, as well as up through into Papua New Guinea and Asia. Prior to this, I have been in expeditions for quite some time. I was lucky enough again to be overseas, offshore for a good amount of 11 years, running expeditions through all parts of the world, actually. And I'm a dive instructor, and so my expertise, I guess, would be in the marine environment, but I also like to consider myself a wannabe twitcher. So I think birds is next on my list of things to get proficient at.
Thanks, Dawn. And you were lucky enough as well to be on one of our expeditions at the beginning of the year as well. So we do the 10-night Adelaide to Adelaide expedition. So Dawn, yeah, you were on our very first journey. So I'd imagine that was a pretty exciting one.
Yes, I was. It was something new to the books, and I was lucky enough to take the adventurer down there for very much an expedition style trip there, where we got to see what South Australia has to offer. And it's really an incredible place. It has over 300 islands just lying offshore, and of course most of these islands are inaccessible unless by sea. So it's just really a stunning place, and I'm very excited to get back there again very soon. Yeah.
And the nature of how we cruise as well with Coral Expeditions is it's really about the destinations that we go to. I mean, our ships are absolutely gorgeous, but our real focus is on the destinations and getting you closer. So by having such a diversity of islands within this group, it really is a spectacular region to be getting to. And absolutely one that we can do in true expedition style. So it's one of my fave things about this itinerary.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's a really unique place. It has about 80 to 90% of all of the marine environment there is actually endemic to the area. So it's got a really special part ecologically in what it has to offer. And of course, not just what's in the water, but like this slide shows, is just a beautiful amount of wildlife that we can get right up close and personal to. So, you know, of course, South Australia is very famous for its seals and sea lion colonies, as well as, of course, the seabirds. So we got some really fantastic opportunities to go and look at some sea lion haul out sites, which is where the sea lions, you know, get themselves up into the sunshine and warm themselves up for the day. And we took the Explorer vessel right up close for some fantastic photography where the sea lions were hauling out onto these rock shelves.
Such little cuties.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, yeah, there's a diversity of the wildlife, but then also such rich flavours to sample in the region as well, which I'm sure you get to taste all of these amazing things on the journey that you did as well.
Yes, that's right. Yes, so of course, it is again famous for some oyster farms, so very large amounts of beautiful Australian oysters are grown there. And yes, we did. We got opportunities as well, not to just see the oysters and how they're farmed, but get the chance to shuck them and have a taste if that's something that you do enjoy. And again, things like the green lip abalone and the black lip abalone, which is also naturally occurring in these cooler waters. We got a chance as well to see how these guys are processed, as well as have a taste on a beautiful beach, in fact, at a lovely place on Flinders Island.
I think that's what I do love about this expedition as well, is that, you know, whilst there's so much history within, you know, and diversity within the wildlife and what you get to taste, there's also this amazing coastal scenery that you get to see along the way. So I think it's absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, we got, of course, making land at lots of different spots. So we got right up close to this incredible coastline, but just merely being back on the ship in transit to our next destination, we were passing beautiful coastlines where we would even tell everybody, like, let everybody look outside. It's the beautiful, 300-meter cliffs or somewhat like that. And really, it's a very old part of Australia once again. So there's a lot of those geology buffs will certainly get something out of this, because we do see some really incredible parts of Australia down in South Australia.
That's right, and with almost 2.4 billion years of updating history along some of these, so definitely amongst the geology enthusiasts, there is something for everyone on this one. And of course, with those spectacular cliffs and you can see that there's so many areas where things jut out along the coastlines. It was absolutely paramount for lighthouses to be built in this area. So there's actually a couple of lighthouses that we see along this journey, and they were actually a really integral part, being that we've got one of the longest facing coastlines in the world. It was absolutely paramount, as I said, for our previous pioneers, I guess, around this area to start the work on their little highway of lights that they've created along in South Australia here. So we get the beauty of visiting a couple of those on this expedition.
We actually visit the oldest one. So it's the one up on the top of Cape Willoughby, and it's a beautiful lighthouse that we get to walk even up to the top of if you choose. And it's the oldest one in South Australia.
I guess with South Australia being paved in all of the history as well, we do with a lot of our expeditions, we try and follow the path or the footsteps of past explorers or pioneers. South Australia is one that's, a beautiful reflection of following in those footsteps of those past explorers. So with Baudin and Flinders, there's so many things which are named after those explorers. And it was actually a little beautiful sort of symbiotic relationship in a way where, they both have set foot around a similar time on this coastline. So you'll see remnants of both explorers within this region. And then being as well that all of our expeditions are guided, you'll have the opportunity as well to learn from the wealth of knowledge from our guest lecturers and our expedition leaders through these journeys as well.
Yes, Flinders himself, he actually only went through the area in 1802 on his the ship the Investigator. And as you said, Ramona, it's a lot of the area he went through and named. So you can really see that link between present day South Australia and these early explorers running through that area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he named Flinders Island after his brother, yeah?
He did, yes, and parts of Memory Cove, the 7 islands offlying from Memory Cove, he named after 7 men that he lost in Thorny Passage just nearby. So there's a lot of history there. Yeah, this image is actually of Kapara Wreck, and this is one of the places that we do get to visit on Flinders Island. It's 1948, I think this one sunk.
Lots of history. Of course, there's definitely the people among us that just love to stroll along a beautiful beach or to take in some breathtaking scenery. So there's not a shortage of beautiful beaches in South Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. The water is beautiful and clear. It's lovely. Yeah, so this is really a good example of the journey that we do through South Australia. Of course, we start off in Adelaide, but then very quickly we're off into the really remote parts of that peninsular area. And as you can see, we hit some very small parts of those 300 outlying islands, inclusive of course, Troubridge Island and Flinders Island, which is right up in that northern section, as well as, of course, the very famous Kangaroo Island, the largest island in that area. So it's a really beautiful trip that's been put together to showcase the special parts of South Australia that many people just don't get the chance to go to because of its remoteness.
Absolutely. I remember Quentin Chester, who was on the expedition. We did do a webinar with him as well, and he was saying that he's a South Australia local, actually, Kangaroo Island, and he hadn't even had the opportunity to get through some of these islands, and they're in his own backyard. So for him, this very first expedition was like a dream come true, that we'd actually put together an itinerary of some of the key places that he had wanted to visit. So yeah, hats off to our product. They've done a fantastic job in
yeah, he was like a kid in a candy shop at places, taking photographs of all the things like the first explorer. So this is one of our first stops that we head off to. It's a really fantastic place. It is really just a vegetated sand cay, and it has, of course, a large lighthouse on there to show the way through the fairly treacherous passage, which has a lot of shallow water. So, of course, that lighthouse is important. It is a special place. Not only does it have a heritage listed homestead, which, as you can see, is right very close to the lighthouse, but there's so many seabirds there. So a huge population of black-faced cormorants, pied cormorants. We saw sooty oyster catchers, silver gull, and the proprietors of the homestead mentioned that they even have what they like to call Sammy the sea lion come up every now and again. And we missed him the day we went, but I have my fingers crossed to see him when we head back down there. It's a really special spot, and a small enough island to really have a fantastic wander around. We even did a full circumnavigation of that island if people were interested. Otherwise, there was a smaller loop through the African thorn bush area to look at the pied cormorants. So it was a really beautiful spot to start our trip off here. Really lovely Troubridge Islands.
I love this image down the bottom there as well, Dawn. One of the key things that we have, which sets us apart from the other operators that do travel in an expedition style, is our explorer tenders. So we had them purpose built to actually transport guests to and from locations, but also to do cruising. So you can see just how much flexibility they give us to be able to, get up and land on a beach, super easy. So all of our guests will actually be able to go over on the one time. If it was the Coral Discoverer, with the Coral Adventure and Geographer, which we do use for Adelaide, we would have the two extenders which transfer people over. So just a key little attribute in order to get people up to those regions nice and close, like I mentioned.
It is, yeah. These explorers are a real game changer. We can get into some really isolated areas just purely by managing to land them on the beach, and absolutely, as Ramona, you've just said, is just step off and start our expedition straight from the beach without any issues there. And they're a great way as well just to even see the coastline as a cruise as well. It's got fantastic stability and great way to see the area in the comfort of the explorer.
So an important feature, I guess, is when you're talking with your clients as well, you obviously see there that we had a wet landing. So just remember to let them know a variety of wet landing shoes and dry shoes that they can do various hikes, like what we might see here.
Yes, Ramona, and this is of course some images of Kangaroo Island, which again is the largest island in South Australia. it's such an iconic place to South Australia. We got the opportunity to land at Antechamber Bay, which is just a gorgeous white sandy beach with clear water, and a short walk through the dunes and along a lovely coastal track to our transport, which took us right up to the end of Cape Willoughby, which is the very famous Cape Willoughby Lighthouse, again, the oldest in South Australia. And it's just got incredible views. You know, you're a good 200 meters up from the crashing sea, and the lighthouse is even accessible, so people can walk on to the top to get even a higher view. And of course, Kangaroo Island has its endemic kangaroo species, which is the Kangaroo Island kangaroo. And we got right up close and personal, doing a lovely coastal hike after the visit to the lighthouse, and saw beautiful herds of kangaroos as we were walking around. Yeah, it's a really, really special spot.
In terms of the diversity of hikes on these expeditions, what sort of would you say would be needed for these ones in general?
We do try to, yeah, so I think I lost you then. Do you have me back there?
Yeah, got you back again now.
Okay,
yep.
That's good. We do have two options for most of the areas. So, for example, at Kangaroo Island, it was about a 1.5 loop return that was optioned, or even just a shorter one, just to the edge of the coast to look over the cliff and then back again. I would say, you know, if you're up for some bigger hikes, we certainly give those opportunities for the larger, you know, 3 and 4 kilometre hikes. But again, there's always options every day for a much easier version. So, you know, we try to accommodate everybody, but a reasonable level of fitness would certainly wouldn't go astray for some of these longer hikes.
Thanks.
Yes, so this is in fact a new site coming up. On the first trip, we didn't get to stop at American River, so I'm excited for this one. It has, again, that beautiful white sandy beach with the clear water, with some walks available here. So this one is going to be a very exciting one for all of us, because this will be the first time that we have gone there to American River. Yes, and this lovely, lovely spot at Western River Cove was a real favourite, a real crowd favourite. We stopped in just a really beautiful little secluded cove. It almost felt like you were coming into someone's little secret hideaway. Landed at the beach and went to this gorgeous homestead here, which also behind it has the original homestead still in accessible ruins. So of course the roof is gone in time, but it's made from that original stonework, and you can easily have a look around it. Now, we went for a lovely hike here right up to the top of the grassy hill, and just the contrasting colours that we saw between the dry land and then that beautiful blue sea behind it was just wonderful. We saw crimson rosella at the top where the grass palms were, and on the way down as well, a few koalas in the tree. So it was a really fantastic spot to have a good look around. And again, Ramona, as you mentioned, here there was that opportunity to do that much longer hike, but even just to relax around the homestead was beautiful, and people were having a great time just enjoying that lovely area while others went up on the big hike.
I guess from what you can see throughout these itineraries and all the imagery too, I mean, with your clients, if you've got one that is into photography, you've got absolutely such amazing spectacular opportunities. You've got, you know, for those people that love the history, the geology, the gastronomy, there really is sort of something for everybody on this itinerary, which I think is what makes it such an amazing itinerary. So absolutely, you know, if you've got any of those clients that I mentioned who fit into any of those categories, this would be a prime one to suggest for that.
And here's another example of just the beautiful remote parts that we do get to. This one here is, of course, in Lincoln National Park. And again, this was named by Flinders. He again named this after his crewman that he lost. And it does have the plaque there, but not only is that historical significance there, we had a gorgeous, quite easy coastal walk where we got to see seals in the sea at the end as well, playing about in the coast. And we also optioned here a cruise. So for those that were interested in just having a closer look at the coastline, they had a lovely cruise while others were enjoying the hike. And at this area as well, we found a fantastic sea lion haul out site. So a bit of an add-on and an exciting surprise to find that. So we took our time and took everybody over there and got our first real taste of a big haul out site for sea lions, which was fantastic.
I can see we have got a couple of questions in there too. So absolutely, if you do have any questions, feel free to pop those in the question box. We will have some time as well to answer those at the end. So yeah, absolutely fire away if you've got any questions there.
And this one here, Coffin Bay, it's a really gorgeous site. We had it's a lovely small town, and we had the chance to have a little bit of a wander through the town prior to actually turning up to our oyster tasting session. It is famous, Coffin Bay, of course, is famous for its oysters, and the guests had a really fantastic time trying to giving shucking a go, and of course they can be shucked if they didn't manage to successfully pry them open. But not only the oyster tasting, but you learn about the oysters and how they're farmed. And an interesting thing here is we were on a lovely coastal walk on the way to the oyster farm and saw 3 emus crossing the street. And all the locals looked like it was just something that happens every day. But for us, of course, we were cameras out taking a photograph of emus passing by. So it's a really beautiful spot here. And that, being right up close in the oyster farm and tasting the oysters was a pretty special experience. And you can see why Coffin Bay is such a popular place, because of just how beautiful it was. And the beaches are incredible. The national park, the whole northern arm area is just stunning, and again really remote and really clear beaches that we got everybody to and had a swim at in the afternoon as well. So it was lovely.
And the tasting continues.
Yes, it did. Yes, and of course, 2 very famous seafoods that are found and or cultivated down there, and this was actually, as you mentioned, one of Quentin, our guest lecturer at the time. This was he was jumping at the bit for this island. He rarely gets out to Flinders. It's right up in the very sort of northern part of the national park area, and just beautiful and remote with the incredible coastline. We made a fantastic beach landing on the whitest sand beach you could ever imagine, and we even had the local Airwolf abalone brothers meet us on the beach, where they showed us their produce, being abalone divers together, and we had a really wonderful time just talking with them and tasting the abalone, and they even were cooking it up on the beach. So it was just a fantastic setting to really get an idea of what it is to be an abalone diver and taste this product that's so revered around the world. And again, here at Flinders, we had a lovely opportunity to go for a walk to the homesteads, have a look at the old shearing sheds, and an option to have a small walk to the top of a hill to look at the fantastic views. And we even swam here as well. It was gorgeous weather, and lovely to have a dip in the warm when the air is warm and the sea's nice and refreshing. It was beautiful. Yeah. Yes, and onwards to even more gorgeous isolated islands.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I froze again.
The joys of technology.
Yeah, that's right.
Buffers in and out from time to time. But
okay, yeah. So Tumby Bay is a sweet little town, and it's really famous now for a big push to have these beautiful artworks. So some street art that's the town are very proud of. We had a lovely tour with some of the artists to look at this incredible artwork, that's on the side of large buildings, and the details just incredible. It puts my finger painting skills to shame, that's for sure. And then onwards to Revesby Island, which was just a beautiful spot. I mean, you can see how clear the water is there. There was a lovely demarcation from the white sands to where the seaweed line started. So you have that bright blue lagoon color water, and it's a really incredible place. Revesby actually has an old sheep grazing homestead there that has been preserved thanks to the people that have fought to preserve it. And we did just a lovely coastal walk as well, through up to the homestead to look at the historical significance of Revesby, and then right over to the other side of the island, because it is such a small isolated island, and just had beautiful beach combing walks before a swim at the end. So there was that lovely mix of getting that historical feel for the island, and then having that, the natural side with birds' nests and looking in the shallows as well. It was a really lovely spot.
And then you've got from one extreme to the other, I guess, these beautiful hikes along the coastal cliffs.
Yes, in Cape Donington at the Lincoln National Park, this entire area is a real hiker's paradise. It has all manner of, you can do a 13-kilometre or a 5 or a 2-kilometre hike, and so there were just fantastic options here for us to really get out and about in the bushlands. It's a beautiful spot, and I'm so pleased that it is protected as a national park, because the she oak and the open eucalypt forest, we could really see some of that. Again, there's options for all different types of hiking difficulties. So we had for those much more interested in a harder hike, we had a lovely big loop walk right up to the top, and then back down to be met by the explorer on another beach, and then a lovely, much flatter coastal track. So we really got to explore Cape Donington, and I'm excited to go back there again. We found a large sea lion haul out site, very accessible from the beach. So it's a really special spot, and for those wannabe twitchers like myself, I'm sure they'll really get the most out of this area.
The wildlife continues, I guess, with a different type of wildlife when we get to Wedge.
And it's quite a unique place. It actually was a site where it's a gorgeous island, and it's a site where they decided to try to increase the population of some of the more endangered animals there, such as the Baudin and the rock wallaby. And it's been really successful, which is fantastic. And once you're on the island, you can really see that diversity of wildlife. We saw dozens of the gorgeous little rock wallabies on our coastal walk. And you've got sandpipers on the beach. We saw seals and dolphins as well off the coast. So Wedge was a really fantastic spot to get there and really see that successful repopulation project that they have utilised Wedge without its natural predators to increase the population of these endangered animals.
And then we head on to Emu Bay. So yeah, the beaches on this one.
Yeah.
We get to this, we didn't get to this one on the previous side either, did we, Dawn? So this would be another new expeditionary site, which I'm sure you're excited to see.
That's right, Ramona. Yes, this is also a new spot for us. So again, with everything, I get excited about, I can go to a place a dozen times and still get excited about it, but this one is new for us again. And, you know, we do have the option here to visit the beautiful lavender farms. So I'm excited to really, you know, see this area and you know, get there myself for the first time. So it's going to be a very interesting spot to head to.
Yeah, they'll also have the opportunity to taste the lavender scones at the lavender farm, and you know, some of the products that they make there. So the tasting sensation continues.
Yeah.
I could see one of the questions that we had there as well was about our explorer tenders and how easy they are to get on and off. This page here is an example of our explorer tenders. They're actually, as I said, purpose-built for us. So the Coral Geographer and the Coral Adventurer, they both have the capacity. We take 60 per explorer vessel. You can see they're actually housed there at the top of the ship that you'll see just there in that right-hand side top image. They then actually hydraulically lower down to our back deck. So you can see just how easy it is to board those on and off from that back deck there on the left-hand side. And then coming into destinations, what they'll do is they'll hydraulically continue to lower that down into the water. Off we go, and then you've got this nice little easy flap that can drop down at the front there, like a little gangway to easily get on and off. We can use them as well for various things, for, you know, transferring to our zodiacs, or we utilise them in conjunction quite a bit where we do use the zodiacs as well. We can back deck as well to lower zodiacs. So it's really quite a unique system that we've built on board the vessels. So, I mean, this page here, apart from telling you about all the explorers and how great they are and how easy to use, we also mention on this one the things that we do include on expeditions. So apart from, you know, the fantastic knowledge of the likes of our expedition leaders like Dawn and our guest lecturers, we do include, you know, all hikes are guided. If there's a location that has the opportunity to utilise snorkelling, we absolutely do include those, as well as if there's opportunities to utilise our kayaks. We do include the kayaks as well on our expedition. So, I mean, Dawn, I'm sure you can elaborate on, you know, the flexibility of the explorers and just how valuable they are when you're actually on expedition.
Absolutely, Ramona. Yes, like not only as you've mentioned, it's just like stepping off. It's you know, one step up to be on the Explorer from the ship, and a very gentle you know, procedure where then when we're off and away in the water, and they're very stable and very comfortable. And of course we have that wireless system where we can give interpretation on board, you know, at the ease of as they're cruising along, and we can interpret to everybody very comfortably what they're seeing and the history, all the wildlife that we see. And it is really fantastic. You know, we do utilize, and just that fantastic part of landing at the beach is as simple as can be. It's straight off the front, and you're on expedition. Really good.
And for some of those longer journeys, I guess, where we might do a coastal cruise in the Explorer, they've thought of everything, and they've even got a marine toilet on the back of the Explorer. So yeah, all ticks. And of course the dining, our style of dining on board the vessels is really quite a relaxed type of dining. We don't consider ourselves luxury, but the standard of service and the quality that we provide is absolutely hands down among some of the best I've tasted. With dining as well, we don't have assigned seating times, or you're not required to sit with certain people. You can just basically, you know, find a spot where you love to sit, or, you know, you might have made friends throughout the voyage and feel free to, join them at a table. It's really quite a relaxed style. Everything's chef prepared as well on board, and we can cater to pretty much any dietary requirement as well. So when you're making a booking for your guests, just, you know, if they do have any of those requirements, absolutely let the reservations team know, because the most notice that we can get makes it a lot easier to be able to source anything that might be a bit of a curly requirement that they have. So. And then, of course, the vessel. So we'll have either the Coral Geographer or the Adventurer, depending on which voyage that they are on. They are sister ships, so they're both built on pretty much the same specification. So they're designed to have a maximum of 120 passengers on board. However, in the COVID environment at the moment, they are currently capped at 99. But built with that real nice level of relaxed coastal environment in mind. You can learn all about our vessels and download all of our fact sheets as well. So I'll show you a nice little handy spot to access all of that. So there's everything from, you know, the cabin numbers and where they're located on our deck plans, as well as the square meterage of rooms, which a lot of people do like to find out about as well. And traveling on the ships, Dawn, I mean, you've traveled on them quite a few times as well. So, you know, with those stabilizers on board, there's hardly any movement really, considering they are an expedition vessel.
Yes, absolutely, Ramona. I've actually been lucky enough to be on both of the maiden voyages on both of the ships. So I'm very pleased with that point I can make out. They're both equally fantastic, and as you just said, you know, you can be cutting through some open ocean and barely feel it. You know, it's a very stable ship and very comfortable. You know, a lot of different places to sit and relax, whether it be inside or outside decks, and it's a really lovely way to go and see the world. You know, you can get your boots dirty on expedition and come back and enjoy a glass of champagne at the end of it.
Which is all that important, isn't it? I didn't mention how naughty of me, but with lunch and dinner service, obviously we include all meals on board, but with lunch and dinner service, we do include house wines, house beers, and also a selection of house spirits. And, you know, to be honest, I wouldn't consider the house spirits a house quality at all. They definitely have a great quality, as are all of our wines. So they are included as well. And then, of course, you've got 24-hour coffee and tea stations around the ship that the guests can access as well. So you've probably heard me mention a couple of times about the ship's numbers, but one thing that a lot of people don't realise is that our ships are actually Australian flagged. So the beauty of that is that in the current environment, especially, you know, given that we're Australian flagged, we actually do have those permissions to be able to be cruising right now. And then a lot of our crew as well are Australian passengers and crew. So at the moment, all of our crew are Australian. Traditionally, we would have Australia and New Zealand, but at the moment, primarily is just Australian crew. So it makes it really nice and easy to be cruising in the current environment. So for our other expeditions, if as a result of COVID, they're not able to travel, then generally it would be a future cruise credit. And then we've also got our sail safe plan. So you may be familiar with that one already. I'm sure that you get to see this firsthand all the time as well on board the ship Storm, the good old sail safe plan.
Yeah.
But a great place to get that information on our website is when you're on our website, you'll see that there's a link at the very top there called Sail Safe. So on there, you've got a wealth of information. So everything from our policy plus also some frequently asked questions that people have all the time, such as how to access the G2G pass. So you can see just here some of our frequently asked questions there, and then where that links straight down to our website there as well. So plenty of great spots that you can access on there. Another great place to keep up to date is our updates page. So on that page, we've got things about, any current border closures that, might be happening, that might be impacting any voyages, for example. So we'll keep those there, plus some little hints and tips on, some travel insurance advice or, cancellation policies that people might be wondering at the moment. And then, of course, this area is probably an area which I'd imagine that some of you might be familiar with, but we'll probably use quite a bit. And that's our trade resources area. So this area you'll find at the bottom of our website. And what we do with that one is that's everything such as, downloadable resources such as brochures. We'll even house a copy of this webinar in there. So we'll have a recording of it, which will pop in there. So really all you need to do is just find the voyage or whatever it is that you're wanting to access, and then just click that resources button, and that just takes you straight through to a Dropbox where you can download things like social media tiles, video content. You'll have customizable brochures, ship fact sheets, a whole lot of various information there as well. And if there's something that you can't see there that you might like access to, absolutely feel free to ask away. You can just shoot me an email or give us a call, and we're happy to answer those. To make a reservation for your guests, it's super easy. All you need to do is just contact our reservations team either via email or via phone, and then they'll be able to happily make those reservations for you. If you do have any clients as well that have travelled with us before as well, just be sure to let the team know as well, because we do have past passenger savings if they have travelled with us before as well. So just be sure to share that knowledge. So, one last question possibly. Most of travel insurance companies does not cover for remote area evacuation. Do you have any suggestions on insurance providers? So some of the ones that we have our guests. So personally, we don't recommend anyone because we don't personally work with anyone. However, based on some of our guest feedback, we have popped a couple of them on that little link that I showed you. But some of them have said that they're Medibank provider. So some of them with their personal health insurance have had things like that included for that component. As well as fast cover, I have heard also covering, and then it does fluctuate. I've heard that CGU as well have been providing some cover as well for remote area evacuation. But definitely when you make a booking, feel free to just, ask the team if they've had any suggestions based on what other guests have recommended, because we're constantly hearing them changing and new ones coming in. So definitely feel free to ask the team at reservations as well. So, and thanks. Just had someone comment that thanks, it looks like a beautiful part of the world. I'm sure that you would agree to that, Dawn, but yeah, it is
Yes.
part of the world. I've been lucky enough to travel a little bit of the region. However, there's still so much more to explore. So
Yes, yeah. It's a wonderful spot. It's great.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank you.
Taking the time
You're
to join
welcome.
us and share your knowledge.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful. Thanks everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thanks.